Amelia Mary Earhart, born July 24, 1897, disappeared July 2, 1937, and declared dead January 5, 1939. In this episode, we will rediscover the extraordinary greatness of Amelia, her strange disappearance, and the theories of what might have happened. Amelia was an American aviation pioneer and writer. Earhart was the first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She set many other records, was one of the first aviators to promote commercial air travel, and wrote best-selling books about her flying experiences. Born and raised in Atchison, Kansas, Earhart developed a passion for adventure at a young age, steadily gaining flying experience during her 20s. In 1928, Earhart became the first female passenger to cross the Atlantic by airplane, accompanying pilot Wilmer Stoltz, for which she achieved celebrity status. In 1932, Earhart made a non-stop solo transatlantic flight, becoming the first woman to achieve such a feat. She received the United States Distinguished Flying Cross for this accomplishment. In 1935, Earhart became a visiting faculty member at Purdue University as an advisor to aeronautical engineering and a career counselor to female students. Known as one of the most inspirational American figures in aviation, from the late 1920s throughout the 1930s, Earhart's legacy is overshadowed by her mysterious disappearance. During an attempt to become the first woman to complete a circumnavigational flight of the globe, Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan disappeared over the central Pacific Ocean near Howland Island. Also, if you aren't already, please subscribe for more fascinating short stories about our history. We truly appreciate it. Now back to the disappearance of Amelia Earhart. On July 2, 1937, taking off from Lae, New Guinea, Earhart and Noonan's Lockheed Electra made final radio contact with the Coast Guard cutter Itasca, which lay at anchor at their intended destination of Howland Island. When efforts on the part of personnel on board the cutter to contact the airplane proved fruitless, the Itasca got underway, commencing one of the greatest air-sea searches in history, which quickly involved the U.S. Navy. While Itasca set out to search by sea, a flight crew from Pearl Harbor set off to search by air, but adverse weather conditions forced them to abort their search efforts and return to Pearl Harbor. By that time, the Navy had ordered the battleship Colorado, already in Hawaii for an indoctrination cruise for ROTC midshipmen, to provision and depart for the vicinity of Howland Island, which was located over 1,600 miles from Honolulu. It joined the small seaplane searchers that had already been dispatched to Howland Island. A few days after their departure from Honolulu, the Colorado arrived at location and launched float planes to search the surrounding area. Colorado's float planes searched at an altitude of 1,000 feet, so that they were capable of spotting a floating raft from 5 miles away. A few days later, Colorado's aircraft ended their search efforts on July 12th, having flown 21.2 hours and 1908 miles each. All told, Colorado, with her planes covered within the radius of visibility, an area of 25,490 square miles. The search was not over, though. While the Colorado was scouring the vast ocean, the Navy had ordered the aircraft carrier Lexington, which in 1928 had set a speed record between the West Coast and Hawaii. Carrying 63 aircraft, the carrier offered the prospects of greatly expanding the search area. One newspaper proclaiming in a headline, "Lexington holds fate." The Oakland Tribune reported, "Naval authorities say that the chance of finding the two flyers will depend upon the systematic search to be made by the armada of planes from the Lexington, to be developed over a rectangle of sea approximately 600 miles by 400 miles. Lexington assumed control of the search for Earhart and Noonan on July 12th, shifting focus to the waters north and west of Howland Island. But as the carrier's plane searched, hopes diminished quickly. A July 15th newspaper headline telling readers, "Chances of finding pair placed at 1 in a million." 3 days later, with carrier aircraft having covered thousands of square miles, search efforts were suspended and all hope was lost. Wrote a sailor on board the Colorado, "I don't think they will ever be found, for we searched the most likely area." For the past 86 years, his assessment has remained true. So far, although it is most likely that they crashed and did not survive, There is one theory that Earhart may have survived as a castaway. In 1940, 3 years after her disappearance, 13 human bones were found on the remote island of Nikumaroro. Along with the remains, the search party found part of shoe that appeared to be a woman's. An American sextant box similar to the kind Earhart used, and a Benedictine bottle, something she was known to carry. Initial forensic analysis, however, concluded that the bones were male, most likely a short European man. Shortly thereafter, something odd happened. The bones mysteriously vanished. No one knows what happened to the bones, and some researchers today believe that forensic science during that time period would not be reliable, and that the bones may actually belong to Earhart. The bones could also belong to her co-pilot, Fred Noonan, but due to the unknown location of the bones, we will never be able to study it further. In December of 2022, more potential evidence emerged. A team of researchers at Penn State's Radiation Science and Engineering Center discovered never-before-seen letters on a metal plate that washed ashore Nikumaroro and recovered in 1991. This recent discovery supports the theory that the plane went down and Earhart may have survived as a castaway for a short stint. The reanalysis of the plate conducted by the team showed the letters and numbers D24, XRO, and either 335 or 385 etched into the aluminum. The panel, rusted and corroded from years in the ocean, has rivet punctures similar to Earhart's Lockheed Electra, but scientists said they're not a precise match. The hidden letters were found with the use of neutron radiography, a non-damaging imaging technique. We found what looks like stamped or painted marks that could be from the original manufacturer, said Keenan Unlu, director of RSEC and professor of nuclear engineering. D24 and 335, or maybe 385. We don't know what they mean, but they are the first new information from this panel that has been examined by the various experts with different scientific techniques for over 30 years, he added. Another theory revolves around a crash site in Papua New Guinea that may contain the long-lost remains of Amelia Earhart's plane. Wreckage off the coast off Buka Island, according to investigators from Project Blue Angel, who have been studying the site for 13 years, say that the wreckage off could be from Earhart's Lockheed Electra 10E. Researchers say that a site in Papua New Guinea may contain the long-lost remains of Amelia Earhart's plane. Wreckage off the coast off Buka Island, Papua New Guinea, may offer a vital clue to the decades-long mystery, according to investigators from Project Blue Angel. The project's members have been studying the site for 13 years and say that wreckage off Buka Island could be from Earhart's Lockheed Electra 10E. The researcher thinks that she was low on fuel and may have decided to turn back during her journey to Howland Island. Last year, U.S. members of Project Blue Angel also investigated the site, which is about 100 feet below the ocean's surface. While the complete data is still under review by experts, initial reports indicate that a piece of glass raised from the wreckage shares some consistencies with a landing light on the Lockheed Electra 10, explains the project in its statement. However, the project notes that the wreckage has been gradually eroded by years of rough water and earthquakes. While there is no way to be certain yet that this is definitively Amelia Earhart's Electra, the crash site may hold the clues to solving one of the world's greatest mysteries. Snavely added in the statement. What do you think? Will we ever figure out Earhart's fate, or do we already know? Comment below. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more History Quick Hits, fascinating short stories about our past.